I'm gonna be totally honest for a minute. I have not vlogged in a very long time. So I haven't updated on this in a while, but I shared about my planner in a vlog this summer. I just went to the Hobby Lobby and got bags for Valentine's Day.
It's an awful house, and I wanted to get you out. I'm working on a plan right now to come through. I've waited for a lifetime for you to calm down. Oh, nothing feels the same without you now. I've waited for a lifetime for you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Katie. I'm a third grade teacher in the state of Florida. It is a Monday morning, and I'm so glad you guys are here for a week in my life. I'm going to be totally honest for a minute. I have not vlogged in a very long time. I mean, it's probably been 2.5, maybe 3 weeks. January was just a very long month for me. And if you're a teacher, you know January just feels like the longest month ever. We had some unexpected weather days. I was just trying to get back into the groove of everything. And a lot has happened in those like 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm going to do like a little mini game of catch up with you guys to get you guys up to speed with how things are going in my classroom. First big change, I do not have an intern in my classroom anymore. Nothing bad happened. I can't really share because of privacy reasons, but just for reasons, my intern had to receive a new placement. Again, there were no hard feelings in the situation. We will miss our intern greatly, and I know she will miss us as well, but she just was in need of a new placement. So that was kind of a bummer and a little bit like, all in 1 week, because I also got a new student. So I got a new student 1 week, and then my intern left. And so it was like, wow, this is a lot happening at once. And it was just a bummer because like we worked so hard and got so acquainted in those 3 weeks, and I poured so much into her to like get her prepared. She was supposed to do her first observation lesson, but it is what it is. I can't share any more details other than that. So hopefully another semester I'll be able to get a practicum or an intern student. And I really do feel like it was a great experience for me to see, first off, how much work it takes, but I was enjoying the work, so don't get me wrong. But second, like I really did enjoy, like when she was up in front of the classroom, I was taking notes, giving her feedback on how she was doing. So I think I know I'm definitely still open to having one at another point in my teaching career. It just wasn't in the cards for this semester. So that's the first new thing. The second new thing is I got a new smartboard. And this was something that rocked my world last week. No, there wasn't anything wrong with my old one, if you're wondering. I think it was just not the most recent model, and so the district was updating them all. So like the whole intern new student literacy week explosion was a couple weeks ago, and then last week was the new board. So we found out on Wednesday we were going to get a new board, and then I like taught for like a day and a half without it, just using the whiteboard and not being able to put anything under the document camera. Just fine, it's old school. And my neighbor teacher was like, we used to not have these at all. I was like, I know, I could do this. And we did fine. But they were hanging the board, they were out, it was having to be updated, all this stuff. So far I like it. I don't know if I like it more than my old one. Like I said, my old one didn't have any problems really. The biggest problem with this one was it was timing out really fast. But that was a problem for everybody who got a new one. So I think we've tweaked the settings the right way, so it's not going to like shut down on us in the middle of teaching. So those are the two like biggest new things that have been going on. As far as today goes, we are finishing up our Unit 3, Week 3 in Language Arts, because I was like, what am I even doing today? And I was looking at my plans. I was like, oh, okay, now I know what we're doing. So we're taking our word study quiz and our language arts test, which I don't usually like to give on a Monday, but for reading, I'm like, you either know it or you don't at this point, because the word study is reviewing the same words we've been doing since we came back in January. And then the language arts is finding theme. And I kind of have an idea of who knows that and who doesn't. And I don't think like delaying it one day would be helpful, because we'd just be behind in our pacing. So we're taking it today. So that's what we're doing in language arts. And then tomorrow we're going to be starting poetry, which is exciting. I know I vlogged last year when we did poetry as a unit, but I do have some good, like a good TPT product that I'm going to be using. So I'll share more about poetry tomorrow. In math, we're finishing up our first chapter on division. So you've missed that too. We did multiplying by multiples of 10 for a while, and that was really fun. Maybe I'll have to show you. We did an online test. That was another thing. We're starting to do our tests online and taking the computer grade as is. So I've done a lot of test conferencing with students in the last couple weeks. And now we're in chapter 7. We're finishing chapter 7, which is on division, and we'll test on that on Thursday. This online test for chapter 7 does not look nearly as difficult as the online test for chapter 6 was. So that's encouraging to see. Definitely a good thing. And we're starting our multiplication facts times 6 today. We've already done 2s because we just did 2s for our practice. We did 3s, we did 4s, and now we're doing 6s. We're skipping 5s because counting by 5s is easy, and I need like more bang for our buck. That's all I have the energy to share this morning. I'm going to turn on my computer and like get my email up to date, and I'll check in with you later. Oh, I had to restock my granola bar stash because I was out of granola bars last week, so I had no snack. Nothing fancy, great value. Fruit and grain cereal bars. And then last time I got the Quaker, like chocolate chip granola bars, but they didn't have the mega pack of that, so I got this Sunbelt Bakery. I don't know what, but it was like chocolate chip chewy granola bars, 15 pack, no preservatives. So I thought, why not? It looks like Sunbelt Bakery is in Tennessee. So anyways, I got those 2 things. I'm going to go put them on my shelf so I have snacks. So that's a good thing. It'll be a good Monday. I got a lot of things ready in my classroom last week. I did not have car duty last week, and I will this week, so I knew my afternoons weren't going to be quite as open. But I spent a long time on Friday making sure all my stuff was together and organized, and all of my drawers were stocked with the papers and the copies that I needed to make myself feel really good coming in Monday morning. And so it's only 7:26. Students don't come till 8:20. I have a little bit of paperwork that I need to fill out on my back counter and just a few emails to reply to. But other than that, I think I'm set. I'm also going to go like review my math lesson because I think I'm teaching 7.8 today, which would be the lesson on, let me see our I can statement. I can write related multiplication and division facts. It's fact families. So it's not going to be a tricky lesson by any means, because we've kind of been writing the related facts for a long time already. Like we've been doing that since we started division. I gotta like fix some of my slides. I think I've gotten into my groove for teaching math. I'll have to show it to you. Like I'm using the slides from our curriculum, but modifying them. And I'm going to have to start on my chapter 8 ones in the next few days. So I'll put that on my checklist maybe to start my chapter 8 slides. But it's going good. It's going good. I'm alive. I'm here. I'm also drinking an iced coffee. I'd been on the warm coffee grind for the last couple weeks, mostly because that's all I had. Also because I had a really good like coffee ground from a local coffee shop, and it was delicious. And I still like that. But David finished making my cold brew. I also have cold brew grounds from this local coffee shop. So David's been like soaking them. So I have cold brew concentrate in the fridge. So I'm back to the cold brew today. It tastes so good. The flavor is not my favorite flavor, but it's still a good flavor. But I read the bag this morning. It's vanilla, hazelnut, and cinnamon. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like when I taste it, I can taste all of those things. And the reason why it's not like my absolute favorite is because I'm not really a cinnamon gal in coffee unless I'm drinking something like gingerbread or like holiday themed, and even then I don't really get those that often, but I can taste the hazelnut, the vanilla, and the cinnamon in this, which is crazy. I'm like, I've had this kind of cold brew ground a couple times, and I never like read the bag to see what the flavor was because David makes it for me. And then when I read it this morning, I was like, I want to see if I can taste that. That's a game changer. Like now I know. I don't know. That's just crazy. Anyways, I'm going to come over here and like get all my slides ready. Oh, look at my reading wall. I guess since I haven't had you guys on here in a while, like look at how many stories I've added. Doesn't that look great? Okay, anyways, I'm going to go work on my morning slides and work on replying to some emails and making my checklist, and I'll check in with you guys later.
What's the point in dreaming if I lose my voice? The second I get caught by you, I wanted you to know.
All right, it's the end of the day. I'm going to chat with you guys while I sort papers into student mailboxes because that seems to be the best time to do it. I spent my afternoon grading because we took a language arts test, and I like to get things graded like as fast as I can, even if that means staying a little bit later, which it usually does. So I got everything graded. Their tests went pretty well, but I do think I need to go back and like reteach theme one more time, because this was the last time we hit it in our curriculum, and I think a lot more of them got it, especially judging on, or like based on like the multiple choice questions. I think a lot more of them were successful with the multiple choice questions about theme, but there was still a little confusion, and I still had some people who wrote summaries, which I did a small group intervention lesson for that last week, for my friends who wrote summaries, where I went through and we like talked about the story of the Three Little Pigs, and we summarized it and talked about like the details of the characters, the plot, and the setting. And then we talked about like the theme or the lesson so they could see the difference. And then we corrected some of their work last week where they had done summaries instead of theme. And some of those people, like some of the ones, half of the ones that were in the group today on their test did not write a summary. They wrote the theme, which was good. And then some of them still wrote a summary or just copied something from the text instead of writing their own sentence. So that shows me that I still need to go over it, but I found a good lesson on Lexia. If your school uses Lexia, I just went on and searched, because they usually have little small group lessons for each topic. So I searched theme, and I really liked the lesson that Lexia had for theme, because it talked about like what are thematic statements versus something that's just like a telling information type of sentence. And so I will be using that to help me out with the lesson. And I think I'm just going to reteach it to the whole group, honestly, because I don't think it could hurt to do it for the whole group. I could do it just with like a small group, but whole group won't hurt because I think they all need it. All right, I have to pause my paper sorting because I have got to go to the bathroom. I'm standing here doing like a potty dance, which is ridiculous. So let me go use the restroom and then I'll be right back. Ugh. Okay, back to the paper sorting. I also had a lot of them do really well on their word study quiz, which was encouraging. And we learned about helping verbs last week, and they did really well on like their written sentence and identifying the helping verbs. So that was very exciting. But we did a lot of work today. I was very glad it was a testing day on a Monday, honestly, because it's not my first pick, because I want the students to remember what we did. So we did do some review beforehand, but I just, I was like so prepared this morning. I knew what I was teaching. I knew what I was doing, had all my copies and all my ducks in a row. And then it felt like within like 20 minutes of starting, everything was haywire. And I was like, okay, people are bringing in money for this and money for that and forms for this. And this student needs to go here. And you just came back from being gone for a week. And it was like within an hour and a half, I felt like the whole day was, bah! And my morning was just stressful. I was like, I was completely prepared for today. So this was not lack of preparation. So that's just, it is what it is. And I still had students out today. It's just been like a revolving door of who's here. We haven't had everybody here in a long time. A very long time. So that's about it. Math went fine. We did related facts with multiplication and division. I started by doing that with them with addition and subtraction to show them what it meant. And then we went into multiplication and division. They did great. The most common error was people not putting the correct number as the dividend. They were just kind of writing numbers in the division equation, but not thinking about how the dividend is the same as the product in the multiplication equation. So I'll have to pull some small groups to work on that, but that's okay. Yes, I'm down to like the last bit of my stack here. It was a big stack of things that needed to be sorted. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna finish sorting these papers, make sure I've checked all my emails, close out all of my tabs, and I'm going home tonight. I'm probably gonna eat when I get home because I'm really hungry. And we have small group tonight at our house. And so I'm going to have to I cleaned yesterday and I already made the snack for the small group yesterday, which is good. So all I'm really going to have to do is move the furniture and go back over the small group questions and just prepare to lead that discussion. But I think it's going to be good. And our group has a lot. It's not solely married people, but it has a lot of married couples, and our conversation always centers around the Sunday sermon the day before. And yesterday we talked about marriage and God's definition of marriage and how to make your marriage work and why should we make marriage work. And So I think we're going to have good conversation tonight, which is good because sometimes I'm just really tired and I don't want to do a whole lot of talking, but I lead a section of it with some co-leaders. So I think it'll be good because I think a lot of people will be willing to chime in on the subject. But we could have a lot of people at our house because our group has grown tremendously. So, but that's it. Welcome to a Monday in my life. I'm gonna, yay! Okay, I'm done sorting. So I'm gonna go pack up my things and then I'll check in with you guys tomorrow for Tuesday.
That I'm afraid, but we can make it go away. I hope you hear the things I say when I'm choked up next to you. I've waited for a lifetime for you to calm me down. Oh, nothing feels the same without you now. I've waited for a lifetime for you.
All right, good morning, you guys. Happy Tuesday. I always think it's funny because at my school, it's Tuesdays are like t-shirt Tuesdays. So it's funny how like I go on Monday from like my cute sweater, my jeans, and my booties, and today I'm wearing like a sweatshirt. But it's pink, and I'm wearing all things pink as much as I can, pink and red, for this month because it's February. So that's exciting. I'm clicking up my slides on the board. I'm hoping my board has been, I think I shared yesterday, it's been like logging me out a bunch. And so I'm hoping that today it'll do that because my teammate told me that when it gives you like the threat to shut down, it'll give you like, sometimes it just goes to the spinning wheel where it's like logged you out and it's locked your computer, like your board. And sometimes it gives you like a countdown and it's going to shut down. And she's like, when it gives you that countdown, there's a button that you can put like click and it'll change the options so it doesn't shut down. It just, you can like change that setting there, but you can only change it when that wheel shows up. So I'm trying to like click up my slides that I need real quick. And then I'm going to leave my board still and keep an eye on it and see if that little spinning wheel comes up so that I can prevent it from shutting down and change the settings. I don't know. We'll see. I have a Newline smartboard. If you're a teacher and you have a smartboard, do you know what kind you have? I used to have a ClearTouch panel. So far, I'm a fan of the ClearTouch more than I am the Newline. My mouse and my keyboard are also kind of laggy. Like I have a wireless mouse and a wireless keyboard, and I've always had them, but it's kind of like as it goes across the screen, which is really frustrating. So anyways, that's what I'm working on right now. Things I'm going to do this morning. For math, we're teaching our last lesson in chapter 7 on division, which is exciting, but also scary because we test on this on Thursday, but it's okay. We're going to get it. So I have a group of kiddos that I need to pull for intervention, and I have all of their stuff right here in my intervention binder. I think I showed this a couple of vlogs ago, but maybe I'll show it again this afternoon in detail because it's been super helpful for me to keep my interventions organized. But I just have a calendar. I keep sticky notes as I like teach. I go around and I make a sticky note. I'm like, this is the lesson we're on, and I write down student numbers who need more assistance and just stick it to the front of my binder so it's there. And then in each pocket, I have a chart that looks like, let's see if I can find a blank one without student names to show you. Okay, it's the same for reading and math. So it's a chart that looks like this, and it tells the date, the students that I met with, the topic that we went over, and like any notes that I took. And so I keep track of that. And so anything that I'm going to teach, like small group wise, I keep up in my front pocket. So right now, to not show you student names, I just pulled like extra division practice, which was writing division equations by looking at extra groups. And I've pulled a lot of these students like throughout the chapter to work on reteach pages, to use the tiles and all those things over at my table. And now what I see they're struggling with is like they can use the tiles and they can divide, but they can't look at a picture and like write the division equation. They're putting the dividend in the wrong spot. So we're going to practice that today. To get some of that intervention down. So that's one thing I'm doing today in math. We're also teaching the last lesson, which is dividing by 1 and dividing by 0, which you can't do. So it's going over those things. Yes, that's what I've got. And I'm also going to start to hang up some posters because we're doing poetry today. And so I wish I'd laminated them. I definitely have time that I could go laminate them. But I don't think it's the end of the world to have them laminated. I think I'll just pin them up on my board. So I'm going to change like some of the posters on my board. Right now I have like, I can take notes on a fiction text and an informational text. I think I'll just set that over to the side because I'm going to come back for it. Because we use that chart all the time. It's this chart right here. Oh, right there. But I'm going to change that up there to be a poetry chart so we can make a list today of all of the things that we learn about for poetry. And then I'm going to hang, ow, just got a freaking paper cut. Ugh. And then I'm going to hang these, which is from a TPT product that I found. I will link it below. It is what I'm using to teach poetry. It aligns with the Florida Best Standards about teaching types of poems. And so, golly, that hurt. So we're using that to supplement our curriculum because our curriculum kind of teaches like breaking down poems and looking for figurative language and descriptive language in poems, but it doesn't really explicitly teach how to identify what type of poem it is. And that's a need that we have for our standard. First off, our standard says they should be able to identify a haiku, a limerick, a free verse, and a rhyme verse. And it's also on state testing. So our curriculum doesn't do a superb job with that. So we're using this product I found on TPT that does. So I'm going to go hang these and like make my language arts poster or like thing show poetry, reflect poetry, which is what we're learning. And that's all I'm going to share right now. I'll jump on this afternoon and let you know how the afternoon goes. I've got some things to do on my to-do list. I've been loving my planner. Let me show you. So I haven't updated on this in a while, but I shared about my planner in a vlog this summer. And I've actually been loving it because it has like the dates. So at the end of every week, I go through and I kind of write down what I have going on in each date. But it already has the checklist for each date as well. And that's so nice because yesterday before I left, I went ahead and made a list of things I need to do on Tuesday. I can kind of think ahead, like maybe there's copies I need to make, but I know I can't make those copies on Wednesday. Well, I can go ahead and put them on my to-do list for Thursday or Friday. So I've really been loving this planner. It was from Home Goods, or I think it was TJ Maxx. I think it's TJ Maxx that I got it from. But I'll be looking for one that's just like this for next year because I've really, really liked this planner. All right, that's it. I'm going to make my poetry board, flip you guys around so you can watch me do it, and wait until my board tries to log me out so I can't touch it anymore.
Cause nothing feels the same without you now. And all my friends are wasting time, and I'm afraid I'm wasting mine. But if you talk to me again, it'd be worth it. All my friends are wasting time, and I'm afraid I'm wasting my whole life trying to.
Did I just name this anchor chart based on Taylor Swift's new album that's going to be released in April? Yes, I did. The poetry department instead of tortured poets department. Okay, get it? And then I have some Swifties, so they'll appreciate that. And then there's my charts. It's nothing perfect, but it's ready to go for some learning.
Something I can't. I've waited for a lifetime for you to calm down. Cause nothing feels the same without you now. I've waited for a lifetime for you to calm down. Cause nothing feels the same.
Good morning. It is Wednesday today. It's Wednesday, February 7th. I'm up here early-ish. I slept in just a smidgen today, but I'm still pretty early. And I'm getting things set up in my classroom. I know we have some new custodian people coming in that have just recently been hired. So when I came in, like all my lights were off, and usually they're just like timed out. So when I walk in, they turn on, and they didn't turn on this morning. And I was like, interesting. And then I have trash cans that are just not in the usual places. Like I always have one there. I always have one by the door, but I had one back here on my counter and then one over here. And one of them goes in our office and the other one, I don't know where it came from. So I just set it in our office for now. And I was like, I'll have to ask everybody when they get here, like if they know where this mystery trash can goes. So I'm working on pulling up slides and things up on the board. But before I jumped into what I'm doing today, I wanted to thank a viewer, and I don't know who it is because they didn't leave their name, but they gave me a gift for Black History Month, which I'm super excited about. So it just says, enjoy your gift. Happy Black History Month from a YouTube viewer. And it's 3 texts that I have used and I love. And I'm so excited to have a copy of for my classroom because I'm just really excited to have a copy. So the first one's Henry's Freedom Box. And I shared over on my Instagram. I'll share this post right here. A post where I like put a bunch of picture books and like read alouds that I've been reading with my class and the skills that I've been teaching with them. And this is one that we use to practice analyzing characters, like talking about how Henry as a character changes throughout the text. I'm pretty sure that's what we used it for, right? Yeah. Okay, so that was this one. I got The Water Princess. We used this one when we talked about theme because she had to work really hard, and it talks about how she was inspired to help others. Like receive access to fresh water would be the thing. She lives in a village and she has to like walk to carry the water. It's really good. And then this one was also really good as well. Sweet Clara and the Freedom Quilt. We use this one for summarizing and for plot, character, and setting. But it's so good. It's about a little girl who contributes on the Underground Railroad. So I've loved these because we've been doing historical fiction. And I'm pretty sure this one says it's based on someone's childhood. So I don't think it's not necessarily a biography, but it's not informational. So it's kind of like in the historical fiction genre, but all 3 of these are, and they're perfect for Black History Month. So I feel like I've done a really good job since we've come back of teaching a lot of texts that go right along with the themes from Black History Month. And coming up, we're doing poetry right now, but not tomorrow. The next unit that we do, I'm pretty sure we start biographies. Actually, I know we start biographies, and I have 2 biographies that I'm looking forward to using. And one of them is about Ruby Bridges. I love teaching about her every year because I used to teach 1st grade, and she started school in the white school in 1st grade. And so it was just such a good connecting point. But I still love to teach about her. And then one about Katherine Johnson, who worked for NASA. So I have 2 biographies about them that I think will be really good. So I just wanted to say thank you for sending those. My Amazon wish list is always in the description box if you want to check it out and get some ideas for your classroom, or I'm always appreciative of people who donate things to me and my 3rd graders. So thank you so, so much. So what I'm doing this morning, we're going to be reviewing for Chapter 7 test, which is tomorrow. We're taking it online. It'll be our 2nd online test. Chapter 7 is all about strategies for division. And what Go Math does is it has this like review, chapter review right before the test at the end of the chapters. And sometimes we found the reviews are lengthy. They're like 20 something questions. And it's kind of a challenge for us to figure out how to best use them to like maximize our class time. So we found that if we slim down on some of the questions a little bit, it's helpful. So we don't use every question because sometimes there's like 22 questions and some of them have part A, part B. And it just takes a very long time. And we spend one day just doing the chapter review because I've been doing intervention and like small groups throughout. So we should be ready with one day of review. So I'm going to look, my coworker actually already did this review, and usually sometimes we'll like sit together in the office and look and say, okay, what questions do we think we could leave out? Which ones should we make sure we go over? Which ones could we send home for the kids to do for homework? Just a few questions that night. So they're looking and getting ready. But sometimes we'll do that together in the office, but my coworker actually did this review like 2 days ago. So she just emailed out a list like, hey, here were the questions that I picked based on the decision-making chart in the book. So I'm going to go look and see what numbers she suggested, look through them, kind of circle them and write them in the margins of my wonderful TE that's humongous, but I'm going to write it in the margins there. And then I'm going to go and look over my reading stuff because we have a team meeting today. And so that usually takes up, well, it always on Wednesdays takes up my planning time. And so I won't have time during my planning to sit and like make sure I'm ready for my reading lesson. So I should probably even pull up the slides now. So I'm going to get everything like pulled up for my reading lesson so I can look through it. Yesterday, I didn't like check in formally at the end of the day. It went well. It was a lot to get through. Like I just kind of did an intro to all things poems. I'm looking at my poetry department chart. And I had lines, stanzas. I don't know if I said that, but I inspired it off of Taylor Swift's new album, The Tortured Poet Department. And I titled my chart The Poetry Department. And some of my Swiftie girls like freaked out. They were like, oh my gosh, it's just like Taylor Swift. And I was like, I know. So anyways, that's what I titled my anchor chart. I don't know if I said that yesterday when I vlogged. But we went over like lines and stanzas. We briefly talked about descriptive language. We talked about similes, metaphors, rhythm, rhyme, and repetition. Now, granted, some of these things we've already talked about. Lines and stanzas doesn't take long, and we're going to review it with every poem we read. Descriptive language we've done since the beginning of the school year. It was like the second standard or third standard that we went over. We did plot and setting, maybe fourth. Plot and setting, theme, analyze characters, and then we did descriptive language. So we've already been talking about that like a ton throughout the year, which is good. Similes and metaphors, we found them in our text. Every time I find one, we label it as a simile, so my kids are kind of familiar with it, but I haven't like explicitly taught it that much. So we just kind of did a brief overview. And then rhythm, we just read a poem with some rhythm. Rhyme, they know rhyming words. And repetition, we just had to talk about how that meant repeat. But it was a lot to get through, especially because I did the topic and then I did an example poem. And most of my poems were from Michelle Silverstein, Where the Sidewalk Ends. And so I would like read something and then I'd teach the lines, read a poem, have them count the lines. Teach stanzas, read a short poem, have them count the stanzas. Teach simile, read a poem that had similes, and then we had to identify them. So it kept it like moving and fun. We read a lot of poems, but it took a long time. I also read an extra chapter of Despereaux yesterday, and I should not have done that. But it was the very end of the third like book of the book. And I was like, we could get to the end. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. And then it was just like, we had to go so fast during reading. But we were okay. So I'm going to review what we did today. We didn't even have time to get to pronouns, which is our grammar skill. But we'll get to it today. And that's why I really want to look through reading to make sure we're going briskly through the reading today. And I know what we're doing and I'm prepared. So we can get through everything we need to get through, because whole group sometimes takes a long time. But that's all I've got. I'm going to show you guys my outfit because I like my outfit today. And then I'm going to look over this and look over that and get ready for the day. And I'll check in with you guys at the end of the day. All right, I'm calling this outfit Old School Old Navy meets New School Old Navy, because this sweater is from Old Navy like 2020. I think I got it in 2020. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 2020. And then these jeans are Old Navy from this summer. And these are really old booties from Target. But I was like, oh, that could be cute together with I call it my Neapolitan sweater, actually, because it's like Neapolitan ice cream, kind of. Because you got the strawberry and the vanilla and then kind of like chocolate, more like caramel. And then I'm just wearing a claw clip because this is the third day I've had my hair curled. I'm going to have to wash it tonight. But this is my outfit today, and I really liked it.
Feels the same without you now.
Okay, woo! The sunshine is bright. I just went to the Hobby Lobby and got bags for Valentine's Day. Check. I just got the white bags that kids, I'll probably write their names on them, honestly, so it's nice and big, and then they can decorate how they please. And I got some foam heart stickers because it was all 40% off. So I'm set. Valentine's Day is a week away, and I didn't wait till the last minute because I've done that before. Pretty sure there may not be very many white bags left. Oops. So this is your sign. This is posting the weekend before Valentine's Day, that if you haven't already, you need to go get your bags because they might be sold out because they sell out quick. But that's what we're doing for Valentine's Day. So now I'm heading home to make dinner and just settle in for the night.
For you to calm down, 'cause nothing feels the same without you now.